guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel, Peace Jones. Don't forget to like this video, to comment on this video, and to subscribe to the channel, okay, you guys? Please, please, please like the video. It helps me out so much, and that's what we want to do, right? We want to share the content and help Peace Jones grow, okay? So today, you guys can see by the title, I am doing a Q&A. I don't do Q&As too often, but I actually enjoy them, so feel free to send over any questions that you may have. This one is for solo travel in particular. I had you guys ask me some questions in my community tab here on YouTube, and then also over on my business page on Instagram. And basically, I just wanted you guys to ask any questions that you had surrounding solo travel, even if it's not just female solo travel, just in general, right? So I have about 11 questions that you guys sent over. They're in no particular order. I'm literally just going as I took the questions out of my phone, okay? So number one, how comfortable were you your first time traveling solo? So the first time that I traveled solo, my very first solo trip was New Orleans. Now, I felt confident and comfortable enough to go, but I think that I did kind of have, I'm not gonna say nervousness, but just like a feeling of this is new. You know what I mean? You know how when you first start like college, right? Or your first day of school, it's like, I know people, I know I'll be okay, I know I'll do well, I know I'll find my way around, I know I'll make friends, but it's just that like new feeling. Like for me, it's not necessarily nervous, it's just kind of like, this is a new thing, I'm gonna have to learn it, I'm gonna have to feel it out, I'm gonna have to adjust to it, but I know it'll be good. Like I didn't feel afraid, I didn't feel like hesitant. I didn't feel like I wouldn't have a good time. I knew I would have a good time. I knew I would like meet people, but I just felt like this is new. So I hope that answers the question, like how comfortable did you feel? I felt comfortable enough to do it, but I also felt like it was a new thing. So yeah. Then, was it hard to navigate in another country? So this person, I'm assuming, is talking about like, you know, obviously my international travel, because I do travel both domestic within the United States and then internationally outside of the United States. So how hard was it to navigate in another country? For me, it wasn't hard at all. I mean, I had already traveled internationally with other people, so I guess I kind of knew like, all right, this is what you got to do when you get to the airport, this is how customs works, you got to make sure that you fill out because I think my first solo international trip was like during COVID, so yeah, so I had to like, you know, obviously read up on like all of the crazy rules that they had and making sure I had the test and whatever. So yeah, you know, just doing my research. But yeah, I wouldn't say it was hard. I think it wasn't hard because I had already traveled so much before, and I had already traveled solo before, and I had already traveled internationally before. So it was just a matter of like doing that extra research, making sure that I had all of my ducks in a row. Because remember, you guys, when you travel solo, you literally don't have anyone else to come behind you and check and like make sure you did this, make sure you have that. Like you have to cross your T's and dot your I's, because when you get to that airport and it's just you, baby, you got to make sure you have everything together or you're going back home. So it was just a matter of doing that. But as far as like international, like once I landed, it wasn't any issue. I mean, I did stay on a resort, so that probably knocked out a lot of the headache, but I had already had my transportation set up. I already had my excursions picked out and paid for. I already, you know, obviously had my room. So it was just like easy, 1, 2, 3. And then once I got there, it was just a matter of like making friends, having a good time, enjoying myself. That was it. You know what I mean? So yeah, that was my experience the first time that I traveled solo internationally. Okay, and drum roll please. the infamous question that everyone wants to know. Have you ever hooked up with a guy while traveling? So this question, I'm going to give you a whole rundown, backstory, information you probably don't need, and then I'll answer the question, all right? Because I have a lot to say about this. So when I first started actually documenting my solo travel, a lot of people would DM me and be like, oh, I know you're not traveling alone. I know that you have a sugar daddy. Who's that taking your picture if you're claiming that you're traveling alone? I saw somebody's arm behind you. Who's that sitting across from you? Like, I literally could not post one picture without somebody being like, who's that? What's that? Da-da-da-da. How did this happen? And I'm just like, bruh, like, y'all can't really think that every woman that travels solo is getting sponsored, getting flued out, there with a man. Like, it's a thing. People travel solo. Like, I don't know why people weren't believing me, but literally up until now, people still like question me, like, who took your pictures? And I've been on over 20 some trips. You know what I mean? It's just like, what's going on? But anyway, that is that. So I have a lot of people speculate and assume that I'm with someone or someone's paying for this, someone flew me out. Cool. Then aside from that, I remember when I used to work at this place, one of my supervisors, like, I came back from Jamaica. I had gone to Jamaica. If you guys haven't seen that story time, it's really good. Go check out my travel playlist. There's a story time, my 24th birthday trip to Jamaica. Whole ordeal with one of my ex-girlfriends, not in a romantic way, but like, she literally was my female friend and we're not friends anymore. But anyway, that whole shebang. So we went together or whatever, you know, two young, attractive females traveling to Jamaica. I guess everyone assumes that when females travel alone or in groups, like, they just be getting it on with the men there. Like, is that a thing? So yeah, my supervisor, I was showing them pictures and he's like, yeah, I know you was probably having fun with them. Like, I'm sure y'all hooked up or something. I just was so offended. I was like, no, like, why would I hook up with some random person in Jamaica? And so he was like, oh, please. And I'm just like, why would I do that? Like, why would you think that was a thing? So in my mind, I was trying to like figure out, like, did he say that because he genuinely feels like that's something me and my friend would do? Or did he say that because women actually do this? Like, this is like a whole thing to be expected. So fast forward, I was in a few like female solo travel groups. And I started to see women post things along the lines of like hooking up with men, finding their boyfriends overseas, bringing condoms with them because they knew they were going to hook up with people, like just being very open to hooking up with people. And I thought that was so crazy because it was a real thing. Like, so many women commented, so many women were like liking it, sharing it, and they're like, yeah, like, I do that too. I found my boyfriend here. I went to Spain and I had some of the best adult time ever. I always pack condoms because this and that. And I was just like, wow, like, I never knew this was a thing. Never knew it, right? Comment below if you knew it. I ain't know it. So for me personally, after all, I am itinerary T, okay? I live for a good itinerary, and because time flies when you're traveling, I like to stick to my itinerary and my schedule. When I travel, I do not have time to meet men. Now, I'm not gonna say that when I'm out, I'm not addressed by men. I'm not, you know, men don't come over and try to talk to me. They don't try to buy me drinks. They don't try to entertain me. Yes, that happens. But you have to remember, right? Let's say that I'm doing like a 5-day trip, right? I land. I'm already exhausted because that's just how I live my life. I'm always cramming and doing 100 things at once. So by the time I land, I probably haven't slept in quite some time. I don't take a nap. I take a shower, I get up, and I begin my itinerary right after the flight, okay? After that, I'm going that whole night. The next morning, I have a whole day plan. Every single day, I literally have something to do from sun up until sundown. So for me to factor in time to meet men, go on a date, hang out with them. Like, that's taking hours out of my schedule that I don't really have. You know, when I travel, I want to see things. I want to, you know, get footage. I want to have the experience. I can't be late for things that I've already booked. So I don't have time to mingle with men when I'm traveling, you know? Like I said, if I'm at a restaurant and I'm eating and he wants to buy me a drink and I have the time to entertain it at that moment, cool. But for him to be like, hey, let's go to breakfast tomorrow. No, not doing it. Sorry, already got something planned, right? So that's just how I operate. I know some women don't. Some women, they're more laid back and relaxed when they travel. I'm a traveler, not a vacationer. I don't have time to sit around and chit chat. So that's me personally. Another thing is 9 times out of 10 when you're traveling internationally, you may be in a not so financially stable area, right? I'm not going to say you're in a third world country. Sometimes you may be, but sometimes it just may be a place that doesn't have great health care. They don't have great money, great resources, great access to things, right? So you have to think about it. This is how my mind works, right? Even in America, when's the last time that these people got tested? When's the last time that these people have like gotten their dental work done? You know, do they have condoms? Do they have a disease? Who are these people? Who is this man? Is he like a drug lord? Is he a criminal? You know, does he have some type, like, I don't want to hook up with a random person. I do not know this person. I don't know if he's running from the law. I don't know if he has a disease. I don't know if he's never been to the dentist before and you want me to kiss him. No. So I don't know. I think about that type of stuff. A lot of women don't though. Like, I've met women traveling and literally they'll be like, oh my, they're telling me about their trip in the airport, and they're like, yeah, like I hooked up with this guy here and it was so great, and they just be having a ball. No shade, no judgment, but I don't want to put my mouth on some random person's mouth that's from a whole nother place, and I don't know what healthcare they've had access to. I don't know what they have. Okay, you can't look at somebody and tell whether they're clean and healthy, and I don't know who they are. Like, no, I'm not doing that. No. So to answer your question, no, I've never hooked up with somebody in another country. I have not done the adult thing with somebody in another country. That's just not my thing, you know? I try to stray away from that. Will I entertain someone if they meet me in the moment that I have a moment? Sure, we can have a drink. You riding your horse, I'm riding my horse. We're on the same catamaran ride. Let's chit chat. But outside of that, I ain't got the time, okay? What is my favorite city? So I think I would have to give like a top 3 on that. So the first one that comes to mind is Chicago. I love, love, love Chicago. I had an amazing time. I had no complaints. The food is amazing. The people are really friendly. Like, they literally, like, I remember asking a lady like a quick question, like, hey, where's St. East Street? And I thought she was just gonna be like, oh, go down there. Like, you know how most people in the city are. They're like really brief and short. So I thought she was gonna be like, oh, just make a right on whatever street and you'll find it. She literally walked from like a few feet away, came up to me, offered to walk me to the place. Like, I'm just like, girl, like, thank you. But then I met like other people like that. Like, they're so helpful, so kind. The city itself is clean as hell. It literally looks like they come out at night and like scrub the ground with bleach and water. Like, so clean. It's beautiful. There's so much to do. I had a really good time in this club. I met this girl, Team Aries. We had a ball. It's just amazing. I love Chicago. I always said if I ever left this area, I would move to Chicago, like top tier. Outside of Chicago, I would say I really enjoyed San Francisco. I'm not gonna say it's my favorite city, but it's definitely a beautiful, beautiful place. A lot of great food, a lot of great history, Alcatraz Island and things like that. So I really enjoyed that. Y'all know I'm just a lover of New York City because I've been going since a kid. My grandmother's from New York. There's so much history, so much culture. Oh my gosh. A lot of immigrants come through Ellis Island in New York. So you have literally everything from like Dominican, Jamaican, Puerto Rican, like African. I just love Jewish, Italian. I love the culture there. Amazing food, amazing events. It's just awesome. I love New York City. There's so many amazing places I can say, but I guess to give you like my top two, I'll go with Chicago and New York. All right, next is solo travel scary? So it's not scary to me, I think, because I have a personality that kind of correlates with it or matches it or enhances the experience. So for me, I'm not really a scary person. I think that I kind of like do my research. I look behind the scenes. I try and figure out like, does this make sense? Is this gonna fit my lifestyle or my liking? You know, look into safety measures. How can I go about this in the most safe, realistic, unproblematic way? And then prep for it and just go. Like, I'm kind of like a free spirit. So I don't think that I'm really afraid of things in general. Maybe a little bit anxious about certain things in life, but I don't think that I'm afraid of doing things that I want to do. So I wanted to solo travel. It wasn't something that I was like forced into. So it's not scary for me. How do I plan for my trips? So once again, I'm Itinerary T. Find me on Instagram at Itinerary T, TikTok at Itinerary T. I create customized domestic travel itineraries for all 50 US states and the 5 major territories, okay? Check me out, book with me today. But how do I plan? So that is my profession. That is my passion. I literally go ahead and do my research after I choose the place. I figure out when I'm landing, what I'm gonna do from that moment onward, right? So do I wanna go catch a show? Do I wanna go to a really nice dinner? Do I want to go take a boat ride? Like, what am I gonna do every day? What's the weather looking like? You know, what is this place known for? How much time do I have in a day? Do reservations need to be made? All those types of things. So that's how I plan. And then as far as like actually planning to pack and stuff, like, you know, figure out the weather, what clothes you want to wear, the vibe you want to go for, take off work, you know, book the flight, book the hotel. Like, that's pretty much how I plan. I don't have like a set place that I'm trying to go per month or year. Like, I do put on my vision board the places that I want to go in that year, but sometimes I end up going to other places, sometimes I end up going to those places. It just depends. But I kind of go, especially with this economy now, I kind of go based on like the lodging prices, so like hotels or the plane tickets. So if I find a ticket to like North Carolina and it's, I don't know, $200 round trip, and then I find a hotel for $100 a night, I'll be like, all right, bet, I'm gonna go here. Although I may not have originally planned for that, or I didn't foresee myself going there, it is a place that I want to check out. It's reasonably priced. It fits into my schedule for that time. I'm gonna check it out. I'm not the type of person that's like, I have to go only to this state or this country this year, so I'm just gonna pay however much money it costs to get there. Like, no, I'm very like, is this on my bucket list somewhere? Cool, I can afford this right now, bet, that's where I'm going. So that's how I plan. Do I get lonely? No, I do not get lonely. That goes back to my personality. You guys know I do a lot of things alone. I truly enjoy my own company. So taking myself out to eat alone, doing solo dates, traveling alone. I never get lonely. It's kind of weird because as much time as I spend alone, I always look forward to solo travel because it's even more like personal and comforting to be alone traveling. It's like I really can like get in touch with myself. I can really clear my head and think about things that I need to. I can write things down. I can plan. I can go over my goals. I can pray. I can just really relax with myself. And I truly enjoy that alone time with extra beauty and scenery and relaxation and a good drink in my hand. So no, I don't get lonely, but maybe I'll make a video about this at some point. But I will say that I don't recommend solo travel to everyone, right? Like, it's amazing if you want to try it or if you think you like it. But I personally think that you have to have a level of confidence and maybe like a certain personality to enjoy it. I think people that are like very hesitant and they question themselves, they're very unsure and like just like scary and anxious, I don't really recommend it because I feel like a huge part of solo travel is confidence. So if it's visible that you are like scared, worried, anxious, you look lonely, you feel lonely, that's going to be evident to other people and that can become a safety issue. So I would say, I don't know. We can get deeper into that in another video, but basically, no, I don't get lonely. I enjoy the time alone. Someone said, do you prefer domestic or international? That is really a tough question because I enjoy both. I think a lot of people don't realize how much the United States has to offer, or even if it's not the US, like Europe, you know what I mean? Europe's another great one. Like, you live in the UK, you literally can go visit Germany, Spain, Italy. Like, there's so much around you that you can explore without going anywhere else outside of Europe. Same with the United States. Like, you live in the US, you literally have 50 states to choose from, and all of them are unique in their own way. They all have their own history, they all have their own cuisine, they all have their own beauty. So I think that domestic travel is just amazing. Like, a lot of people are like, I want to go international, and that's how you know a real traveler from a new traveler. A real traveler is going to appreciate travel any way possible, right? Like, when I hear people always like, oh, I don't do the US, almost like they're talking down. It's like, I've done international and I still do, but there's a lot to do in the US. There's a lot to see. The United States has some beautiful, beautiful terrain, like so gorgeous. Some places in the US don't even look like they're in the US. Like the Grand Canyon in Arizona, breathtaking. Utah, breathtaking. Even right up the street, Shenandoah in Virginia, breathtaking. I mean, so many pretty places. Maine, Minnesota, like the mountainous regions. It's gorgeous, Florida looks like the Caribbean half the time. So yeah, I enjoy both. I think that I enjoy them both equally as much. There's pros and cons for both of them, and I can make a video on that. I'll shoot out a few here though, 2 for each. So the pros, I think, for traveling international is that obviously you're out of the country. It's a whole new experience, a new culture, a new vibe. It's just that much more exciting, right? Because you're leaving the US. So that's a pro. Another pro is that you get to like experience new things, new people, new languages, right? So you're literally, you're submerging yourself in a whole different world. A con is that it's usually now with this economy, I feel like international is cheaper, especially if you go all inclusive, but it's usually a bit more expensive. So that can be a con for my travelers that are on a budget. And then you have to have your passport as well. So that can also be a con for people that, can't afford that or aren't able to. And then there's so much more hassle in it, right? So like from what I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, but like Europe now is going to be requiring US travelers to have a visa. So now not only do you have to have the passport, you have to have the visa, you have to have the approval. Some people for their jobs, they have to get these things approved. Normally you have to have a longer time frame to travel internationally, so you have to have the days to take off. A lot of times you have to look into like, you know, getting certain vaccinations, possibly picking up certain diseases, what type of food can you eat, what is their culture, what do they allow. Places like Dubai, you can't just go to Dubai and do what you want and wear what you want. Their culture doesn't allow that. So now you have to research that. Is that something that you want to do? Is it something you're going to enjoy? Things like that, you know, bringing things back into the US, bringing things through customs, stuff like that. So there's pros and cons in both of them. Same with domestic. Some of the pros are it's a lot cheaper, it's right up the street, you can take multiple means of transportation. You don't always have to fly. Sometimes you can catch a train, sometimes you can drive from state to state, road trips, stuff like that. Then you also have the pro of just getting to know the US outside of your state, outside of your city. Like explore the US, see what they have to offer, right? Some of the cons can be that, hey, you know, this isn't international. I'm not really exploring new culture, and I'm not able to experience new food and cuisine and things like that. And then also you may say like, hey, you know, I'm looking for a certain vibe. I'm looking to go snorkeling. I'm looking to, you know, be in the desert. I'm looking to get in touch with my African ancestry or something. You can't quite do that in the US, right? So it's not as cool of an experience, I guess, to some people. But there's pros and cons to both. I would say I enjoy them equally. I thoroughly enjoy my domestic experiences, and I thoroughly enjoy my international experiences. How many trips have you done solo? So I actually went back and counted, and I can see that I documented 15 on my YouTube channel. However, I know I've done more than that because I just thought of another one, which makes it 16. So I'm pretty sure that I've done at least 20 solo trips, if not more. There's really no way of me to try. It's hard for me to try and remember, but I do know it's over 16 because I went back and counted the videos I documented, plus the other one that came to mind. So about 20 solo trips or more. How did you start? So I started by just doing it, basically. The reasoning for starting, I have a video on that, why I actually started solo traveling. To sum that up, I basically got tired of waiting on people. I got tired of trying to like dance around people's finances, their needs and wants. You give them all the opportunity to choose the dates, the location, whatever, and then they say yes, and then they back out. So I just was like, I don't got time for that no more. I'm literally gonna do this. There's things I wanna see, there's places I wanna go. I'm an adventurous person. I love to explore. I had the means to do it, and that was that. So that was how I started, and that's how I think everyone should start. I mean, you have to just jump into it. There's really no way to ease yourself into it unless you want to just start off by like taking yourself out to eat alone, doing a little solo date alone, things like that, so you can get comfortable. But that's never going to equate to like actually getting up and booking a trip and going. Then the last question is, are there any cons to solo travel? Yes, there's pros and cons. I would say the cons to solo travel for me are picture taking and the prices. So as far as the prices, you guys have to realize that traveling solo is so much more expensive. You're literally, if you're renting a car, you're paying for everything. You're paying for the gas, you're paying for the rental, you're paying for everything involving that rental. If you're using ride shares, you're not splitting the Uber or the Lyft. You're paying for that whole ride. A lot of times in major cities, one 15-minute ride can be like $30 one way. So imagine going somewhere and back for a total of 30 minutes and paying $60. That's just one trip. That's not you going out 3 times a day for the next 4 to 5 days. So I spent a lot of money just on ride shares alone, between $300 and $400 every single trip. Then your hotel or your resort, you're not just paying half of that, you're paying the full amount. Lodging has gone up tremendously. There's plenty of places in the US that I've been looking at, random places, $1,000, $1,500, $2,000 for 3 nights, y'all. 3 nights in a hotel. When you're talking all-inclusive resorts, they're charging you that extra fee because you are one person taking up the spot of 2. The way resorts look at it is that if this is a person staying in a room that can house 2 people, normally, let's say all-inclusive Jamaica, you pay $900, he pays $900, or y'all are in that room, cool, it works out. If you're in that room alone, now you're not just paying $900, they're tacking on that extra fee, which pushes it up to maybe $1,500, $1,300. So you're having to pay for the extra space that you're occupying that they could be getting money off of. It sucks, I know. And apparently it's the same with cruises. I just learned that. I'm not a cruise girl, but I do have a coworker that's also a travel agent, and she was telling me that like they do the same thing with the rooms on cruises. If you're occupying the space that 2 people could be sleeping in that room. And y'all, I don't mean like getting a double bed. Don't think that like, oh, well, I'll just get 1 bed in the room. You're still occupying the space of 2 people being in that room. That's how they look at it. So you're gonna pay that extra price. So the pricing, it's a sacrifice. Like, you have to be true to this game to be a solo traveler, because even budgeting, even looking for discounts, even like searching for the right time of year to book or the cheapest time, you're still kicking out that money, okay? So that's a con. And then picture taking for me is extremely important. All my friends know, y'all probably know by now, I'm big on like capturing the moment and getting good photos. I personally take that stuff seriously. I know a lot of people are like, oh, like it's not that serious. But for me, when I look back at my experiences, I want beautiful footage. I don't want like a half of my toe cut off in a picture when I had on a gorgeous dress and gorgeous shoes. I don't want my head cut off or my arm lopsided or the beach sunset barely there because you took it crooked. Like, I just feel like capturing moments and capturing beauty is a skill and it's an art, and I don't think that everyone has that skill or the eye for it. So it's like, cool, we can't blame them. But some people, I feel like they're just lazy, and so it can be just a little bit frustrating when you're traveling and you're trying to like document and collect footage. And you know, sometimes you can't bring your tripod. I try to bring my tripod as much as possible, but I just feel like a lot of times, you know, it's a certain venue or space that it's just like, do I want to bring it to this classy 5-star restaurant and just bust it open and start taking pictures of myself? You know what I mean? So sometimes you do need to count on a stranger, but people don't care. Like, people will expect you to take an amazing picture of them, but when it comes your turn, like, y'all, I need to put together a reel of all the horrible pictures people have taken of me. Like, your fingers on the screen so you can't see me at all. You put your finger on the screen and it leaves oil residue after I just wiped it off. You cut my legs off, you cut my shoes off. The thing that they love doing, zooming in. If I hand you my phone, what would make you think that I want you to zoom in? I don't want you to zoom in on me. 9 times out of 10, I'm asking you to take my picture in a space where I want to capture the background. There's something in the background that I want in the picture. So don't zoom in on me. Stop the madness, y'all, okay? People cut off your limbs. It's, you know, they take it and it's blurry. They take it with the flash on when it doesn't need to be on. It's just like, y'all, it's a lot. But yeah, those are the cons to me, because I've downloaded apps to try and like help me take my pictures alone. I have, you know, the tripods. I tilt my phone up on things. I try to go for the whole selfie rather than the full body. And I still get great shots, but it's just like, I wish that there was like a travel picture taking etiquette class where people would be just as considerate about taking your pictures as they want you to be about taking theirs. You know what I mean? But yeah, that is it, you guys. That's the whole Q&A. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I would love to do another if you all have any other questions. So yeah, drop them below, comment below, let me know what you think, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.